Well, here's what we figured out. We figured out it's not just the people you're meeting, but it's the people you can gain access to. So don't underestimate anybody this evening. At this time, I want to introduce a lady that has been part of the local broadcast landscape for the last 20 years. The newest member to WRTV. She does traffic. In fact, she gets up at 2:30 in the morning to go to work. She is here with us this evening. In fact, I said to myself, wow, she gets on WRTV Channel 6 from 5 to 7. Maybe I'll get up at 5 o'clock to see if she gets on TV. My alarm didn't go off to about 6:45. But she was there, talking about the traffic. Joni Michaels has a passion for travel, adventure, and the great outdoors. She was the traffic anchor on Fox 59 Morning Show, and she developed and produced and hosted the Emmy award-winning show, The Adventures of Indiana Joni. It lasted about 6 or 7 years. I mean, was that pretty cool? Many of you probably remember. Now, not only is her face going to be familiar, but certainly her voice is familiar to you because she was on the radio. And you may have heard her either on 93.1 or 95.5 or 104.5 or any of these radio stations. So she's been around helping us stay focused when it came to traffic. She's a published columnist. She's currently writing a children's book. She loves pets. I think she has a doggie or two. And I asked her, I said, what is your favorite quote, Joni? Do you have one? Any motto about life? And she said, you know, I love this author and this poet by the name of Mark Twain. And I said, I've heard of Mark Twain. And she said, you know, he said that 20 years from now you will be more disappointed in the things you didn't do than the things you did do. So throw in the bowline, sail away from the safe harbor, catch the trade winds. In your sails, explore, dream, and discover. And we know one thing, that Joni Michaels is thrilled she's here this evening. Let's welcome Joni.
Thank Ron for such a great introduction. You made me sound like a dinosaur. Thank you. More than 20 years. Yes, this is kind of like my midnight. So thank you all for allowing me to be here with you this evening. I think everybody is here from all different walks of life this evening. I know we all have different backgrounds. We all come from different professional settings. But we are here for one goal, and that is to meet interesting people at the top of their game, right? And we certainly have a lot of great speakers for you this evening. So thank you for having me MC this evening's event. The Skyline Club, proudly towering 36 floors above our great city of Indianapolis. I think that this is the perfect destination for top business minds to hopefully share their wisdom, their experience, and hopefully a few of their secrets as we travel this super information highway this evening. Tonight you're going to be networking with top business people from all walks of life. Some have detoured from their chosen professions, like our featured speaker this evening, Dr. Thomas. Others have traveled the fast lane, and a few have blazed their own trail. But everybody here tonight has one common professional goal, and that is meeting people at the top of their game who are excited about sharing stories of hope, success, and perseverance. Is that why you're all here this evening? Or you're here for the wine and the appetizers? By the way, some of the appetizers that you enjoyed this evening can be found in the cookbook that Dr. Thomas has put out. So I think that you're going to enjoy that. And he's also going to be autographing this book a little bit later. So if you enjoyed some of those hors d'oeuvres and some of the wines, you'll find those recipes right here in this. As I said, we're all here sharing our stories this evening about passion and travel and what has brought us here. But I think it's also important to remember that when you're at the top and maybe you have the key to the washroom or you have the best parking place or you've got that corner office with the best view, you want to surround yourself with people who share that same passion and that same vision, because if you don't, it can be quite lonely at the top. So I think that that's something that we should also all keep in mind. And now I want to introduce to you the general manager of the beautiful Skyline Club, and that is Jeff Markowitz. Jeff?
Thanks, Joni. Welcome, everyone. I'm Jeff Markowitz. I'm the GM of the Skyline Club. Thank you for coming out today. We are very, very excited to continue at the top into 2011. And we actually, I'm very excited to have one of my very favorite members speak tonight, Dr. Thomas. I could sit with him for like 3 hours at a time talking about wine. So I know you're going to enjoy his talk tonight. If you get a chance, if you could, Regis Office Suites is set up on the dance floor. If you want to find out some information about a great partner that we just partnered with, and actually we're just about to announce that all Skyline members get a complimentary gold membership with Regis. So it's something I'm very excited about. And also, if you could, Linda, who's in red over here, Linda is our membership director, and she has a lunch and learn tomorrow where we buy you lunch and you learn a lot about the Skyline Club. Because actually we have an incredible offer right now, and we are partnering with Toys for Tots. And we actually have the Marines come in, and you bring a toy for the children, and in return you get probably the best incredible deal that we've ever offered, and it is a preferred initiation. You get complimentary food and beverage of $100, and you get your first month dues free. So if you have any questions at all, please see Linda. And again, thank you very much.
Toys for Tots is an excellent program. That's actually one of the media programs that RTV6 is supporting, and they have for the past decade. So if you can, by all means, please share that with your friends and your family members. It makes a wonderful holiday project for families this time of year to go together and get gifts for children who are so deserving and so in need. Now I want to introduce our media sponsor, one of our media sponsors for the evening. Perhaps you wandered over here off to my right and visited the table where they've got the magazine cover that's out. I know you've heard of them. And our media sponsor is Mike Corbett. He's the editor and publisher of Hamilton County Business Magazine right here. If you didn't get one, please stop by the table and pick one up. And I was talking with Mike a little bit earlier. We share a passion for broadcasting. He was telling me that he hosted PM Magazine. Remember PM Magazine when it was everywhere? And Dick Wolfsey, I ran into you this evening, and I know you also know a lot about PM Magazine. But Mike was actually one of the hosts of PM Magazine. Was it Illinois, Mike, or was it I? Yes. So anyway, he's going to come up here and share a few words about his magazine. Come on up here, Mike.
Thanks, Joni. I just wanted to welcome you all. I do appreciate the opportunity to be the media sponsor. Hamilton County Business Magazine is a 2-year-old glossy magazine. We circulate up in Hamilton County. It's a wonderful place to live. It's a wonderful place to do business. But this year we decided it would be smart for us to sort of expand our scope a little bit and explore the Indianapolis market just a little bit more. So that's why we took advantage of the opportunity when Ron offered it to be a media sponsor for At the Top. These events are wonderful events. I enjoy coming, and we hope that you will take advantage of the opportunity to get a little preview of the next edition. The next edition is the January edition of the Hamilton County Business Magazine. It actually doesn't come out until Friday, but our printer is in Indianapolis, and on the way down I managed to stop by. They actually bundled up 25 copies for me so that I could take them and bring them here as a preview edition. So they are over on the table over there, and I invite you to pick one up. if it's something that you think you might be interested in subscribing to, they already go to all Chamber of Commerce members in Hamilton County. So if you belong to any of the 6 Hamilton County Chambers of Commerce, you get it as a benefit of that membership. But if you don't belong and you'd just like to know what's going on in the business community in Hamilton County, I invite you to subscribe. You can get on the website, hamiltoncountybusiness.com, and subscribe. It's only $20 a year. And if you're looking to tap into the business community, if you have the kind of business that caters to other business people and you're looking to tap into the business community in Hamilton County, I invite you to consider it as a marketing opportunity for you. So once again, thank you for inviting me, and I look forward to meeting all of you tonight.
Okay, thank you very much, Mike. Again, if you didn't get your magazine, they are right down there off to my right. So does everyone have a glass of wine or something to drink right now? If you do have a glass of wine, you'll want to raise that glass. Very special toast for our featured guest speaker this evening. Hopefully you had a chance to meet Dr. Thomas and chat with him just a little bit earlier. He's a very charming man. We got to chat just a little bit earlier, and Ron also mentioned that he had another profession before he turned professional winemaker. He was an obstetrician, delivered over 7,000 babies in the Indianapolis area. Let's give him a toast. And now each one of his wines are like children to him as well. I know he's very passionate about his winemaking. So we are here to honor Dr. Thomas and get to his speech in just a minute. But tonight it is all about being at the top of your game. Now, Dr. Thomas, our featured speaker, exudes the kind of exploration that one of my favorite authors, Mark Twain, talked about when he talked about exploring, dreaming, and discovering. And don't be afraid to pursue that. Dr. Thomas was the co-founder of the Indiana State Fair International Wine Competition and has been judging wines for 25 years. Dr. Charles R. Thomas founded Chateau Thomas Winery, which is located in Plainfield, Indiana, in 1984. Besides running an extremely successful winery, he is a winemaker and a wine collector. Dr. Thomas authored the cookbook, The Chateau Thomas Table, Pairing to Perfection. So hopefully you guys saw that book this evening, and he will be signing this book a little bit later, right, Dr. Thomas? That's right. He's going to be signing that for us. His honorary awards include Key to the City of Indianapolis, Sagamore of the Wabash, Lieutenant Colonel, Alabama Militia, and an Active Teachers Recognition Award by the American Academy of Family Practice. A native of Indianapolis, Charles Thomas attended Indiana University in Bloomington and graduated with a degree in anatomy and physiology in 1955. He interned at Methodist Hospital, Indianapolis, and completed a residency in obstetrics and gynecology at Methodist. And again, he has been serving the medical community, and he's a treasured family member to so many people, so many of those babies that he delivered. But I think we're glad that he's making wines too, because they are delicious. We sampled a few of those earlier. So ladies and gentlemen, a toast to our esteemed speaker this evening, Dr. Charles Thomas.
Thank you very much, Joni. When they told me that Joni was going to introduce me, they said she does the traffic on Channel 6, and I said after I saw her, I think she stops traffic. So thank you for that introduction, and it's a pleasure to be here. This is one of my favorite places to come whenever I have time to come, and having been to this particular event for the first time, it's an event that I want to keep coming to, so I hope to see you all again many times. Well, I have some notes about, I was kind of told to talk about how I got to where I am and what I did, and it's kind of interesting that I've always been kind of a dreamer, and I think my wife can tell you that I dream about things a lot and think up things to do and things to make, and so I've kind of always been that way. And you've heard the history of my, I was born at a very early age, and but I was born here in Indianapolis, and I've lived here virtually all my life except for the 5 years I spent in Bloomington. Bloomington wasn't as liberal as it is now. But after I finished my residency, I went into practice on the South Side. I had about 9 months to go in my residency, and I started thinking about where was I going to practice. So I got out the phone book and I looked up obstetrics and gynecology in Indianapolis. And there were 42 OBGYN doctors in Indianapolis. And 41 of them were north of Washington Street. So I thought, gee, I bet you there's some people on the South Side that have babies as well, So that's why I decided to relocate, because I've been born and raised on the North Side. But so I went down to the South Side, and I have not regretted that one bit. It's been a good experience. I enjoyed the obstetrics. I have a knack for working with my hands. I like to woodwork and things like that. And I found that was very helpful in doing difficult obstetrics. So I think I enjoyed obstetrics a lot. But I also enjoyed surgery, and I did a great deal of GYN surgery as well, going out into some of the more difficult and imaginative areas of surgery. But during that time, I was sort of coerced by an older doctor on the staff at St. Francis that I should get into medical politics, and I really hadn't thought about that at all, but he kind of steered me into it. So the next thing I know, I was chairman of the OBGYN department, and then I was president of the medical staff, and then I was president for 5 years of the District 5. It was actually a federal entity, which was a professional standards organization here in the Indianapolis area. And then from there, I did other things. I was on a lot of different boards, and it's like my wife characterizes me, I'm somebody that can't say no. When somebody asks me, I say yes, and so that's one of my big problems. But I also was on the Indianapolis Police Department Merit Board for 12 years. That's the organization you read about in the paper these days. So, but I thought we did a good job when I was on, and we didn't have the rumbles that you have been hearing about now. But anyway, it was a good experience for me, and we had to be jury and judge in those cases that we adjudicated for the police department, and we were not one-sided by any stretch of the imagination. So beyond all that, I also did, as was mentioned, a lot of received some awards, and George Wallace was the one that gave me the lieutenant colonel in the Alabama militia. But I haven't been called up at all. So I don't know what the Alabama militia does, but at this point I'm glad I haven't been called. After 30 some years practicing medicine, I began to dabble in making wine, and started out with a kit, and started making wine from a kit, and then from there I started doing other things and was never satisfied with what I was doing and always thought I could do a little better or do a little bit more. So I ventured into many different varietals of wine. But I quickly realized that some things were my favorites, and I had wines I liked and wines that I did not like. And along about that time, then I began to buy and drink French wines, and I really was enamored with French wines. I thought that they had the balance and everything that I really liked in a wine. And so along about that time, I took a class at IUPUI that was taught by an elderly gentleman by the name of Percy Simmons, and I don't know if any of you know him, but he was pretty well known here in Indianapolis, and he was really eclectic. And but anyway, Percy was teaching this class on wine, and he would bring in experts from all over the country, and they would give a guest talk. So I took the class 1 year, and 2 years later I began as a senior instructor because I had read voraciously and kept honing my knowledge in wine, and just trying to soak up all the information from all these people that came in to teach this class. And we had our class was twice a year, and it went for about 8 weeks, and we had 100 people in each class, and we had them at different places around town. We had them at the Columbia Club, I think, for a while, and we had them at the the other club, the one that isn't there anymore. Anyway, so we did those classes, but in doing so, I was able to get a lot of secrets and a lot of information from a lot of really big people in the wine industry, and that just kind of fed my thirst for what I wanted to learn and what I wanted to do. And so it went on from there. Finally, I went to California, and I met. Well, actually, I already knew Marcia Mondavi because Marcia Mondavi, the daughter of Robert Mondavi, was one of the people that used to come, and she would come twice a year and give a lecture for us there at IUPUI. And met her, and then she got some grapes for me. So I brought some Cabernet Sauvignon grapes back from California, and I won't tell you the story about getting them on a plane and bringing them back. It's too frightening. I don't want anybody to jump out the window. But anyway, I brought these Cabernet Sauvignon grapes back and made some Cabernet wine from that. And of course, that was it. I really got hooked. And so I started making wines in a very French style, but using California grapes. And of course, that was nice because, the problem with French wines is that the French grapes never get fully ripe because they hardly ever get enough sun. But California gets plenty of sun. So, I had the best of both worlds. I had grapes that had lots of sugar, and so I was able to make some nifty wines. And what I started doing was shipping them back to Indiana. And then because of the problem with the medfly, and some of you may remember the medfly in California back in the early 80s, had to ship them back frozen for a few years because California wouldn't let them ship fruit out of the state. So anyway, from there it went on, and we kept developing techniques. And finally, in 1983, I told my wife, I said, I think I'm going to start a winery. And she said, well, what took you so long? And so we started the winery. I went out to California every third weekend for a better part of a year, taking classes at the Napa Valley School of Cellaring, and learned more about making wine. And so started the winery in 1984, and it's just kind of kept going and snowballing ever since. And now make about 45 or 50 kinds of wine. And, I think the joke around the winery is that he never met a grape that he didn't want to make wine from. So anyway, I make lots of different wines, but I try to make them all in the French style, or the style for which they are best known. And I think that we really do make premium wines, or at least that's what I try to do. And so I practiced medicine for about 10 years during the time that I had the winery. But and my son worked for me. But at that point, we decided to move out of our building on Madison Avenue. And I met a fellow tonight that knew the landlord, that was my landlord there. And that my landlord said, well, if you're moving out, he said, Mel Simon was on the top floor, we were on the bottom 2 floors. And so he said, well, listen, he said, if you'll pay me $300, I'll paint over your sign on the building. I said, somehow that doesn't seem like a good deal to me. So the sign is still there on the building. So it's down on Madison, and that's been a long time. But anyway, I built my own building out by Plainfield. And at the same time, I opened a location in Nashville, Indiana. And then last year, about this time last year, we opened another outlet in Fishers. So now we have 2 remote outlets along with the winery itself. And we have a banquet room, and we do wedding receptions and all that sort of thing. So we really do a lot of things at the winery. We're just about 2 miles exactly from the airport. We're 2 miles west of the airport. And if you haven't been there and you want to have a chance to come out, we'd love to see you. And so I was asked to talk about some of my philosophy about life, and I don't want to bore you. Some of the just to mention offhand that I used to like to do a lot of different things, but I like to woodwork and read and watch sports, and went down to watch the IU game last night, and. But anyway, I like to invent things, so I'm working on a couple of inventions. But the one invention that I did that I think may really be something is a Slender wine, which is the world's only sugar-free sweet wine. And this wine has virtually no sugar, and we make a white and a blush and a red, and they're called Slender. And the funny part of the story is that the government was not going to let me have that name because they said that the name Slender was practicing medicine, that I was trying to tell people that that if they drank that wine that they would get skinny. And I said, well, there may be some truth to that. But they said, well, you can't do that. So they rejected that name, but then I started doing a little research, and I found some other names out there in the marketplace. So I wrote them a letter, and I said, are you the same agency that approved the name Fat Ass Chardonnay? And So I got my name. So anyway, that's some of the trials and tribulations of dealing with the government. So I would just like to close by talking about a few things that I think I think we all have our own version of the top, and I was flattered, almost flabbergasted when Jeff asked me to do this, because I by no means think that I'm at the top, but I really enjoy what I'm doing, and I really enjoy working with the winery and working with the people that work for me, and I have a wonderful bunch of people that work for me. But I have some things that I think that that if you're aspiring to the top, and if you're there already even, I think there's some things that you might want to consider as signposts that you might want to pass on your way through life. And one of them is just to work hard and study hard and never quit learning, because I'm telling you, medical science has shown that your brain quits when you quit learning. So keep on learning. Number 2, don't neglect your family. Your kids grow up in a hurry, and these things go on, so you don't neglect your family. One of the things that really bothers me a lot is that I think that our society has degenerated a lot when it comes to telling the truth. And I think that, I know that lawyers get away with telling the truth. In fact, I told my wife, I found out that police officers don't have to tell the truth either. When they're interrogating a suspect, they can tell lies, and it's legal. I told my wife, I said, I'm going to give them my Shakespeare quote. And she said, do you mean the one about let's kill all the lawyers? And I said, no, not that one. I said, the one I was going to say was, to thine own self be true, then it must follow as night to day, that thou canst not then be false to any man. And I tell you, I do not tolerate people lying to me. If you lie to me, you're gone. You're not working for me anymore. So. Another one of my mottos is that I think that people should realize that you never learn anything by talking. And I think that there are too many people that talk too much and don't listen enough. So listen, because the guy that you are listening to probably has some good points, and you should listen. The next one is to be nice to people. I think that, just be nice to people. And I think that when you're not nice, they turn you off. They don't listen to you. They don't hear what you say. So you have to be nice. And I think you should develop and maintain a good sense of humor. And they interviewed a beaucoup women and asked them what was the one quality in a man that they liked the most. And the thing that turned up the greatest was a sense of humor. So don't forget that, guys. I think the next thing that I would encourage you to do is to volunteer. I mean, I realize that we expect people to volunteer a lot in this country and our culture, and I think that, you can say it's good or bad, but I think it gives you a good feeling of having done something and helped somebody. So I think volunteering is good, and I've probably done more than my share, but I would encourage you all to do that. And last but not least, go to church. So with that, I'll close.
I just want everybody to know that I've been working on his Slender Red wine. I'm not sure if I'm losing any weight, but I'm feeling good. Just a couple of announcements. Wow, how many? You don't get to hear Dr. Thomas very much, do you? You hear about what they do as a company, but you're not hearing much from Dr. Thomas. So what a treat to have Dr. Thomas come out here. What a great story. In fact, his wife, Jill Thomas, was a nurse. She met him 40 years ago in the operating room. She tells me she had no interest in marrying a doctor. And 40 years later, they're in the wine business. Let's hear it for Jill Thomas.